This is me. I've had the same job for 15 years. The more I stay here, the more I sit underneath the fluorescent lights, the more I question, is this what a real man is all about? Day after day, something inside of me cries out for something different. It makes me question, is this what it's like to be a real man? Day after day, it seems like we do the same thing. We get up, we eat breakfast, we go to work, then we go home. Then we do it all over again. Every day is the same thing. Sometimes I feel like less of a man because of it. I need an adventure. I need a challenge. I need a change. You know, working at the same place for 15 years can really take a toll on the mind. It seems like it's mundane. You see the same things every day. You do the same operation each and every day. Travel the same way each and every day. But I believe that we're created for so much more than that, especially as a man. We're not created for the same mundane thing every single day. That's why I believe so many people are unhappy at their jobs. We need something to mix it up a notch. Something to stir the pot, if you will. Now, don't misunderstand me. I know we need our jobs. There's bills to pay. There's life that happens. There's things that require money, and we need to earn money to live. I understand that. But as a man, I believe there's other things out there that can pique our interest. I believe God created us to do more than just the mundane. I want to prove it to you today. We're going to talk to some specific men that I know, that I've known for a long time. And I want to introduce you to those guys. My wedding day was one of the greatest days ever. God had finally given me the woman that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And so I wanted to share that day with some of my best friends. These 5 guys, these men have been and always will be my friends. That guy to the left of me, that's my dad. He didn't want to be in this video. He says he likes to keep a low profile. So, I wanted to talk to the next best man. I went to go talk to my papa. You see, my grandparents had 5 kids, and their kids had about 11 kids, and now their kids are having kids. You can say that my papa is like the Godfather. He's the head of the 5 families. He's been through a lot in his life. Been in the army, went to Korea, so I had some questions for him. I wanted to know what it was like, in his opinion, to be a real man.
Well, there's just no comparison when I was a little boy. I mean, today they got everything, and we had nothing. And it's just altogether different attitude with people. Now people, I guess, expect everything to be given to them and expect to have their way. And probably young people now, the parents all have to work, and they don't teach them anything. They're there. They're just there.
Mm-hmm.
And just go somewhere else. Don't bother me. I'm tired. And back then it was, people farmed or whatever, and they didn't work at public work, and they was with you all day long, and if you didn't do what you're supposed to, it wasn't, I'm going to put you in timeout or you can't watch TV for a week. They get a strap or a hickory and wear you out.
Yeah.
When you said, be quiet, they know you better be quiet.
Yeah.
Or do this or do that. I don't know, probably my stepfather.
How come?
Well, he was just there, the man of the house, and actually, when I was younger, I didn't really know my father that well because, they divorced when I was 4 years old, and I didn't know him until I got later. And my stepdad was there, and he taught me a lot too. And I knew that when he told me something, he meant it, and he wasn't just talking just to kill time. Well, probably the biggest reason was there my older brother and my 3 other brothers were in, so I thought I should be.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't feel like I had to, but that's something I wanted to do, and I just done it.
Yeah. What would you say was your best moment when you was in the military?
The day I got out.
What was your biggest lesson learned from it?
Well, I think you just learn respect and responsibility, and you just learn to do what you're told.
Yeah.
Married my mom.
Yeah, I think there's a check there. And why?
Well, without her, I don't know who I would be. I'd probably been in jail somewhere. Because I was pretty mean. They're better off financially and living conditions and with what they can accomplish. When I was in my 20s, jobs were hard to get, and of course they're getting that way now. But you didn't make much, and it was just harder. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm sure now that the younger fellas thinks it's hard now, but it was really hard then.
What happened to you in Korea? Can you talk about that?
When I was in Korea, there wasn't a war going on, and it was just more of a occupation, just being there. And what happened to me personally?
Yeah.
I was in a Jeep accident, and I broke 3 bones, I think it was, and I was in the hospital about 6 months.
Did it turn over on you?
Well, it turned over, it flipped, but it had a 105 recoilless rifle, which is a big, like a cannon, mounted on it. And it was run up from the rear, it was mounted on the rear and run up by the side of your head, and had a split windshield. And when it rolled over, that kept it off of me. Mm-hmm. If it hadn't been for that, I probably would have. If it hadn't been for that, I would probably been killed. Mm-hmm. But when it rolled, it just flipped it over off of me and kept it off of me when it was rolling. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether I'm a good man. I don't know whether I can tell you that.
Well, what makes one, in your opinion?
Well, I just think you got to learn the responsibility to do whatever it is you're doing, mm-hmm. whether it's keeping up your family or your job or whatever it is you're doing. I just think you should do your best at whatever you're doing, mm-hmm. and if you don't, then You know, it may not be nothing but sweeping the floor, but I think if you're going to sweep the floor, you ought to sweep the floor the best it can be swept, or the best of your ability. And if you do the best of your ability in whatever it is, you're a good man, I think.
After we had our conversation, Papa got out his photo book from Korea. He had some pictures of some soldiers who were wounded in hospital. These men who went to fight for our country. These men who fought and died. The more I spoke with him, the more I understood what he was talking about when he said responsibility. Do your best, no matter what you're doing. It made me feel a little bit better about sitting behind that desk. I had to ask myself every single day, am I doing my best? Am I doing what he would do if he were in my position? The next person I went to go see is Tyler. I've known him half his life. He was an usher in my wedding. And he's also a youth pastor. He influences teens' lives every single week. I had to get his opinion of what a real man was.
To be a real man, in my opinion, is someone that follows after God, seeks Him first, but also takes care of his family, his wife and his kids, and does whatever he needs to do to provide for them and to make them happy and healthy. Like real life or biblical times.
Your biggest hero, period.
Oh, obviously Jesus.
Jesus is your hero.
Yeah, I mean.
What about like in your life, like an influential person?
My wife wants me to say her, which she is. Don't get me wrong. She's a big, but like over the span of it, I'm just gonna say together, both my parents.
Yeah.
The way they raised me and showed me the right way to go, and always been there to support me in everything I've done, whether it was sports or going into ministry and everything. They've always been there. Because I was called to it.
A calling.
A calling. Without a doubt.
Can you define the calling?
It was God laying on my heart that I was supposed to share His word and to preach. I didn't know how that would look, what avenue that would be, but He called me to preach, and then the door opened up to be the youth pastor and stuff at Momentum, and me and Bethany, we prayed about it, and we felt like that's what He was doing, and we stepped into that. Biggest accomplishment the last 10 years, getting Bethany to marry me.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet. I mean, I did pretty good.
Yeah,
I did real good.
That's good.
That's a big accomplishment. Through it all, follow God. Follow Him.
You think that would make him a better man?
I do. Because no matter what happens, no matter how bad or how good things get, he's going to stay consistent. He's going to be with God, you know. He's not going to run away in the bad times. He's not going to think of himself in the good times, you know. It'll keep him where he needs to go. You know, if we hold on to Him, we're never going to get far off track.
That's good. I can't remember ever not knowing Jason. I was 2 years old when he was born, and we've been best friends ever since. We're more like brothers than cousins. I went to see him in his shop one afternoon. You see, Jason is really good with his hands. He can build or fix almost anything. Way better than me at that kind of stuff. So who was the most influential man in your whole life and why?
I'm going to say I have two that equally influence me, and that's my dad and my Papa Hullet.
Yeah, and why?
Both of them taught me a good work ethic, really what it means, how to be a good dad and a good man in general. I'm a combination of a hands-on, But at the same time, if I need to follow somebody else, I will.
That's good.
The day my girls were born,
That's awesome. I like that. How come?
my whole life changed. I mean, you know, most people say a day they got married was a big day, but I was always by my wife's side, so it was just it wasn't that much different. But the day my girls were born, I seen life in a whole new way. Like, just everything became about them and how to be a better father and just try to be the best I can for them. I mean, it was just,
Yeah, that's good.
it was unreal. It's hard to explain that
Yeah.
that moment.
That's good.
There's no better feeling than starting something from nothing or a whole bunch of parts laying here to seeing a finished product like this rifle. I mean, I built it from the ground up. I took a bunch of parts, fitted them, and now I can't be more proud of. This is probably my favorite gun I've ever built. The thing I think about the most, which as a kid I hated it, was in the fall on Saturday mornings, you know, getting up and going and dragging limbs and splitting wood. Back then I thought it was just work, but looking back it was teaching me how to do what needs to be done. I mean, it wasn't just dragging wood, it was you got a job to do and you gotta get it done.
That's right.
Family means everything to me. Although we may not get along all the time, if you don't have family, you have nothing. A good man knows, first of all, it goes back to a old country song. You have to stand for something, or you fall for anything. A man can be defined several different ways depending on your situation, but you got to take care of the people around you, whether they're family or not. You got to take care of them.
I had to give it to him there. The man's always had a big heart. And after that conversation, I had a whole new respect for his outlook. I think it's in every man's DNA to want to take care of something. You know, obviously we have our families we need to take care of, and I believe that type of mentality that keeps a man going. It's more than his job. It's more than what he does for a living, obviously. Jermaine is just an all-around awesome guy. I mean, the dude rides a Harley, plays the drums, plays the bass guitar, and all kinds of other awesome skills. But not only that, he's a great husband and a great father.
Someone who takes care of his family, of course. You know, a person who stays honest and stays true to his beliefs. Definitely my dad. Yeah, it's definitely my dad, and you know, growing up, the several youth pastors that I've had, every one of them had a different impact on me, and I've kind of developed a mindset that those are the kind of people I want to follow. I think at times it's on point, but then at other times it's kind of whereas the world, you paint this picture, you know, based on media and what you see on TV, it's just not always in line with what the Bible talks about and what God wants us to be. There's too many people, there's too many men portrayed as people who just forget about their family, or there's people who they say one thing and then they want to go and do another. And the Bible tells us that we're supposed to take care of our families. We're the household, the leader of the household, and that we should raise our children in a way that that they grow up and they lead the same lifestyle. And there's too many times in the public and in social media that you just don't see that. A lack of it. A lack of masculinity in families growing up. There's too many kids growing up without a father figure. There's too many children who are growing up without that discipline. And I'm not saying that it can't be done, but I think it makes it harder. I think it's definitely something that's important in a child's life and a child's upbringing, is to have that.
The last man on our list today is Brad. Brad and I have been friends ever since high school. We hung out together, and most importantly, we started a church together. And that's pretty important to me. Brad is my best friend.
Responsibility of carrying so many people.
And why?
Because you got your whole family on your back. You've got to support them, provide for them, take care of them, raise them, teach them, train them. It's a lot of responsibility. What I've done's got me where I am, and I love my family, I love my friends, so
Yeah, that's good.
No,
Why?
because it's just to pay the bills. Yeah, I don't think it defines me at all. I don't know that, there was always challenges. I think we just got more distractions these days with the world, just so much going on. Time seems less because there's so much going on and so much at our fingertips, so. Man that follows God and takes care of his family.
In my whole journey of this whole entire project, there was one thing that was common between all of the guys that I talked to, all of my friends, and that one common thing was
Family.
family. Family was the most common denominator that I could find in any of these guys, and I'm pretty sure that the men that I was going to talk to or could talk to in the future would say the same thing. Family is important to a man. The reason why I get up and go to work in the morning is because of my family. The reason why I do what I do is because of my family. I think it's a very special thing to be a sacrifice, if you will, for your family. There's so many times where I hear, and the Bible even explains that the man is the head of the household. If you could think of a pyramid, the man is at the top of the pyramid. We think about that. He's the head of the household. But I want you to take that pyramid and flip it upside down. The man is supposed to be the head of the household, yes, but that means he supports the weight of the family. It's a great responsibility, and one that I actually am glad that I have. The reason why I wanted to do this project is because I felt stuck in my job. I felt stuck in my routine. But I now know, according to the Word of God, that whatever I do, I should do it to the best of my ability. If you feel stuck in whatever you're doing, if you feel maybe out of place as a man, just remember, there's more people that's relying on you than you think about. God bless you, and have a good day.